There's a small space between what happens to you and what you do next. A breath, a heartbeat, a pause. That's where your power lives. Every argument, every regret, every emotional explosion, it all begins when you skip that space. You get triggered, you react, and then you justify it. You call it being honest or just how I am. But the truth is, you lost control before you even opened your mouth. You didn't pause. And that's why you keep losing the same battles, the ones that replay in your relationships, your career, your mind. You don't need more motivation. You need more space between the trigger and the response, because that's where the transformation happens. Pause before you speak. Pause before you act. Power lives in the pause. When someone insults you, that pause decides your future. When your partner snaps at you, that pause decides if you argue or connect. When life blindsides you, that pause determines if you spiral or stand still. You think control is about doing something, but control starts with doing nothing. Silence, stillness, restraint. These are not weakness. They are mastery. Anyone can react. Only the disciplined can pause. You have a choice in every moment, in every confrontation, in every trigger. That's the key. The pause is your gatekeeper. It decides who runs your mind, your emotions, or your awareness. Let's make this practical. When you feel that emotional surge, the heat rising, the tightness in your chest, the voice that says, "Say something now," stop. Literally stop. Don't move, don't reply, don't react. Take one slow breath. That's not weakness. That's you buying your freedom back. You are rewiring your brain when you do this. You're teaching it, I am not my impulse. You're telling it, I choose what happens next. Emotion is energy, not instruction. It demands movement, but you don't owe it obedience. Pause before you speak. Pause before you act. Power lives in the pause. Imagine this. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your first instinct? Anger. The horn, the middle finger. But then you pause. You breathe, and suddenly, it's gone. You didn't suppress it. You dissolved it. Because attention is fuel, and you stopped feeding it. That's emotional mastery in action. That's how you win the small moments. And the small moments shape everything big. Life doesn't test you with major crises every day. It tests you in micro moments. The tone of a text, a slight in someone's voice, an unexpected delay. Your power lives in how you handle those. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing at all. That's the pause. That's your training, ground. Let me give you the formula. It's simple, but it's everything. Step 1, notice. You can't pause what you don't see. Step 2, breathe. Slow, intentional breathing tells your brain, we are safe. Step 3, choose. Choose silence. Choose calm. Choose the version of you who doesn't need to prove anything. That's emotional control in motion. People say, just be yourself. But what they really mean is, stay reactive. Don't. You are not here to be a slave to your emotions. You're here to master them. You don't need permission to pause. You don't need approval to control your state. You don't need to explain your calm. You owe yourself that stillness. Pause before you speak. Pause before you act. Power lives in the pause. Here's what happens when you master this. Arguments die in your silence. Opportunities appear in your patience. Respect grows in your restraint. People can't shake you anymore because you stopped reacting to the noise. You're no longer predictable. You're no longer controllable. You're no longer emotionally available for chaos. That's real freedom. Because the more you pause, the more power you collect. And the more power you collect, the less you need to prove. You don't need to win every moment. You just need to master the space between moments. That's emotional evolution. Discipline disguised as calm. Remember this. Every reaction costs you energy. Every pause earns you strength. When you choose to pause, you're not avoiding life. You're mastering it. You're teaching your nervous system to respond with intelligence, not impulse. You're showing your emotions they can scream all they want, but you decide when to move. You have that choice every single time. That's the key. You're not powerless, you're just untrained. But every pause is practice. Every breath is a rep in your emotional gym. You're getting stronger, quieter, sharper. Next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, remember your mantra. Pause before you speak. Pause before you act. Power lives in the pause. Repeat it until your silence feels natural, until patience becomes your weapon. That's when you'll realize you always had control. You just needed to slow down enough to use it. So pause, breathe, choose. Because that moment between the trigger and your response, that's not just a pause. That's your life.